kind of dream, if it's not the kind of dream that makes you go to bed at a different time of the night, makes you wake up in a different time of the morning, makes you read different kinds of books, makes you listen to different kinds of material, makes you watch or not watch something on the television, if your dreams don't make you conduct yourself in a different way, if they don't cause you to talk to people in a different way, address situations in a different way, act in a different way, then your dreams aren't big enough. They're not big enough. And I challenge you to make your dreams bigger than they are. I challenge you. General Colin Powell, he said optimism is a force multiplied. It's a force multiplied. Optimism is a force multiplied. The belief is a force multiplied. Do you know how powerful belief is? Do you know how powerful belief is? Have you seen people when they have got the devil inside of them and they have a belief, the destruction they can cause? And there's many references, many stories in the Bible that show you the power of belief. So I'm going to ask you, where is your belief? And I'm going to encourage you to grow your belief, to make your belief much bigger than it is. Let me hear you say E. The E stands for expectation. Expectation. What do you expect? I touched on that in belief, because you see, if you don't, your belief just shows up in what you expect. What you expect comes from your belief. They work together. Your expectation. Many people praying to God. Dear God, please give me, please bless me with some income. Bless me with more money, God. If you give me the extra income, I'll do everything. I'll bless my neighbor. I'll bless my family. I'll pay the tithes. I'll do all. Bless me, please. Every week, bless me, please. Pastor Sam said to you yesterday, don't wait for the anointing. Don't wait. Go and do what you have to do now. People praying, if you give me this, then I'll do this. It's like the man who stood there watching the fireplace and he said, if you could just give me some fire, then I'll go and get some wood. I'm telling you something, it's very easy to talk about what you will do with what you don't have. And I'm going to tell you now, God is not interested in what you're going to do with what he's going to give to you. He's interested in what you're doing with what you have now. I tell you, two guys walking down the street, two friends. And one friend says to the other, hey friend, how you doing? I'm fine, good friend, how you doing? Hey friend, if you had £1 million, you had £1 million, would you give me half? Hey, as much a good friend as I am, God, £1 million, I'll give you 500,000. Of course, we're good friends. We've been friends for a long time. Hey, friend, if you had 10 houses, would you give me half? Ah, come on, man. We've been friends for a long time. 10 houses? I don't need 10 houses. I'll give you half. 5 houses, I'll give you half. Hey, friend, if you had 2 cars, will you give me one of them? Come on, man. You know I got 2 cars. It's all right to talk about what you would do with what you don't have. And when you start talking about what you have, it's a whole different story. What do you expect? Your expectation will show up in your behavior. People want big things. It's not the big things that count. You're waiting for this big miracle to happen. It's not the big things that count. Sometimes you're so close to your goal, so close to your dreams. It's just a small thing you have to do. Do you know that? Let me tell you something. If your clock, your watch was 4 hours late, would you notice that? You'd notice it. If it was 4 minutes late, is there a chance you wouldn't notice it? There's a chance. And if you're 4 minutes late for a plane, bus or train, well, I don't know with our service, but plane, bus or train, would that make a difference? Could that make a difference to you? Small things. Small things that count. Guys, if you were to look at your wife and say, darling, you look like a kitten. She say, ah, that's so nice. You say, darling, you look like a cat. Small things, you'll be in trouble. You can say to your wife, darling, you look like a vision. And she'll say, oh, yeah. Darling, you look like a sight. Small things. You look at your wife and you say, darling, when I look at you, when I look at your face, the hands of time stand still. And that sounds so good. Or you could say, darling, you got a face that will stop a clock. I'm serious. It's the small things. The small things make a difference. Now here's your challenge. This is why your expectation isn't big. I'll tell you why your expectation isn't big. Because I see people on a day-to-day basis. And I got my special vision because I look for expectation in how people are walking and how they're conducting themselves. I'm walking down the street and people say to me, when you're walking down the street, why do you keep on smiling all the time? Because I'm expecting something good to happen. So I'm walking, I know it's going to happen in a while. I'm just smiling in anticipation, I know it's going to happen in a while. But most people, this is what happens. Before they leave their house, they get ready, they're getting ready to go out, they put on their clothes, and just before they leave, they say, oh, hold on. They have to take their problems with them. And you see them going down the road, pulling their troubles behind them. And some people got some big troubles. Going down the road, pulling their troubles behind them. And I tell you, they stop. And some of the people have become so attached to their challenges, so attached to their problems. They meet their friends and their friends say, how are you? And they say, hold on, let me tell you about my problems. But they're so attached. They're so attached to the problem. They're so comfortable with the problem. They begin talking about the problem. Yeah, this problem. I meet people, sometimes they give me an organ recital. My kidneys hurting me, my heart's hurting me, my liver's hurting me, all the major organs. And they sit down and they have their problems and they love their problems. Their problems has become so attached to them. And they share their problems with their friends. Some people go to coffee and they sit down with the problem with their friend. And they sit down and drink coffee and they both discuss the problem. Yeah. And then they come to a place like this. You come to a place like this. And Pastor Sam will give you a message. Reverend Betty will give you a message. Breaking the yoke. Give you a message to help you to change. And they will help you to go from here and put this down here and leave it alone and move away from it. But you know, for some of you, you stand there by yourself and when everybody's gone, you know what you do? And you're back again. Because that's where you're comfortable. Some of you are in denial. You see Pastor Sam coming, you're busy talking about the problem. What problem? What problem? You got to be able to get rid of the challenges. Get rid and raise your expectations. Now, you see, the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing today, I meet many people and they say to me, Anthony, I want to be a speaker. I want to, how do I do? What do I do? What do I put on the website? What do I say to people? And I thought to myself, well, yes, I mean, you can go and do training. There's lots of ways you can be a speaker. I say to them, just do it. Just do it. Just start speaking. And the problem they have is because when they're speaking, you know what they're thinking of? How can I make huge amounts of money doing this? I want to speak. I want to speak in front of audience. Their heart isn't in the right place. And I say to them, the easiest way to serve, the easiest way to speak, the easiest way to do what I do is when you're doing what you're doing, all you have to do is temporarily, I'm not saying forever, but temporarily get rid of all thoughts of personal gain. All thoughts of personal gain. If you can do that. Pastor Sam said yesterday, go outside and bring more people in here. You know why you won't ask anybody to come in here? Because you're scared of rejection. You're scared if they ask you, they may say no. Like you've never heard the word no before. And you know why? Because when you're asking them, you're not asking them for them, you're asking them for you. You're asking them for you. But if you could, for a moment, get rid of all thoughts of personal gain and think about them, then you wouldn't have a problem. The building would be full. Because if you had a packet of sweets and you offered somebody, you said, would you like a fruit pastel? And they said no to you. You're not going to say, that's it. I'm never offering anybody fruit pastel again. That's it. I don't want to know. I asked you for a fruit pastel. You didn't want one. I'm never offering this again. You're not going to do that. You're going to say, well, he didn't want one. Because at that moment, you weren't thinking of personal gain. Your expectation will show up in your behavior. Is that making sense? Who's coming on Saturday? Who's coming tomorrow? Excellent. For those of you who are coming on Saturday, did you go on the website as you were asked and register? Don't say you did, because I can see the register. Many people, you say to them, you give a simple instruction, go and register. My friends are coming. 8 speakers are coming here at their expense to share thoughts and ideas with you. And then you're asked to go and register, and some of you say, I don't need to do that. I come in the Dominion Center all the time. I have my favorite seat. So I don't need to do that. So what do you expect to get from Saturday? Why are you coming? You have to think about your actions. Everything I do, I'm checking myself. And I've had to work on that throughout my life, because I used to be somebody, I blame everybody for everything. And my mentor said to me once, you see, every time you point that finger, look, there's 3 pointing back at you. So you need to check yourself at least 3 times. At least. Your expectation and your behavior, it's not your behavior, so your expectation and your belief are going to determine where you are going in the future. Let me hear you say T. Louder. The T stands for tenacious. Tenacious, tenacity. Tenacious is keeping hold of a property, not readily relinquishing. Keeping hold of something, not readily relinquishing. Has anybody heard my CD, One Good Fight? I made a CD a number of years ago called One Good Fight. So I used to be a radio DJ. Lots of people used to be calling me up. I had a message of telling people how to overcome, telling people how to win, telling people how to make things happen. And I kept getting these emails coming through, these letters coming through, people going through tremendous struggles. And I made a CD, and it was a program called One More Good Fight. Because I realized that's all it took. One more good fight every day. Every day, just one more good fight. Anybody going through challenges? You don't have to raise your hand. I tell you, life is a challenge. Life is full of challenges. It's full of challenges. In fact, the only people that I know of who don't have challenges are dead. You see, every day I get up and I have challenges, that's a good sign, because I'm still here. Because the day I get up and there are no challenges, it'd be good because I'll be in a better place, but then hey. Now, where the challenges that you face, how are you going to get over them? I know that sometimes it's easy for me to come up here and trivialize the challenges that people face, and I don't want to do that. But what I'm going to say to you is that if you're going through what's called darkness, call it darkness, the darkest part of the night. You know when the darkest part of the night is? Just before dawn. Just before dawn. At that point, it can't get any darker. It can't get any worse. And I kid you not, if you find a way, and there are many ways to overcome your challenges, you can do that. It depends on what kind of stuff you're made of. What you're made of. You see, there's a saying, it goes, a diamond in the rough is a diamond sure enough.